Johnny Cage, one of the OGs of Mortal Kombat and a fan favorite, but there might be a few things that you don't know about him. For starters, Johnny Cage is not even his real name. Taking after other big name stars like Elton John and Marilyn Monroe, he chose a more marketable name when he went to Hollywood instead of his birth name, John Carlton. Mr. Carlton has been in several blockbuster films and many more flops. The most famous film of all being Ninja Mime, which he actually won some awards for. In total, there are about 41 movies to his name that we know of, including 4 Ninja Mime sequels. And speaking of busts, one of the most famous parts of Johnny Cage's moveset is his signature nut punch. However, in the first couple of games, it had a huge disadvantage. It did not work on female opponents. Then, despite being, again, his most unique move, he lost use of it entirely, and he did not have it again in any of the 3D era games. Eventually, in MK9, he got his iconic nut punch back into his repertoire. And despite the fact that that game was rated M for mature, his hands were now rated E for everyone. Scorpion! He's the poster boy for Mortal Kombat, but I bet there's a few facts that you didn't know about him. At this point, everyone knows that his birth name is Hanzo Hisashi. But did you know that he might be named after an actual historical figure? A samurai and ninja from the Sengoku era of Japan by the name of Hanzo Hitori. He was the commander of a band of Aiga ninjas. He was a master in sword combat, and he had a nickname, Oni no Hanzo, which directly translated means Demon Hanzo. If he's not loosely based off Hitori, then I'd consider that a hell of a coincidence. And speaking of ninjas, Mortal Kombat is famous for its colorful ninjas. But did you know that Scorpion is the only real ninja in the series? As he is the only one that's actually Japanese and is actually proficient in Japanese ninjutsu. While he's a real ninja, Scorpion has never really been the real main character of the Mortal Kombat franchise. Despite that, he's always gotten a lot of special treatment. That's because one of the founders of Mortal Kombat, Ed Boon, has stated that Scorpion is his favorite character in the franchise. He's also the character that Ed has had the most direct influence on, as his famous catchphrase was spoken by Ed Boon himself. Oh, sorry, I'm just working on my forearms. And speaking of forearms, there might be a few things you didn't know about Goro. The Shokan Beast is probably one of the most recognizable men in all of fighting games. But about that Shokan thing, well, it didn't used to be a thing. Goro was originally a half-human, half-dragon hybrid created through sorcery, I believe, until the MK crew decided they wanted to expand the lore. And by Mortal Kombat 2, the Shokan were a thing. Now Goro's nickname, the Prince of Pain, is not just a badass nickname, as he is actually a prince, being the son of King Gorbak, who is the ruler and leader of the Shokan race. Now, Goro's intimidating presence has not been limited to just video games, as in the 1995 classic, Mortal Kombat, Goro made an impact on the big screen and was considered quite the feat in Hollywood at the time, as Goro's body was a mix of animatronic, puppeteering, and an actual dude in a suit. In addition, his powerful voice that gave us such lines as, "How lucky for them, back home," was performed by Kevin Michael Richardson, and he would reprise his role as Goro in the 2020 animated film Scorpion's Revenge. If Goro's in the next MK game, I want it to be Kevin Michael Richardson. He did a fantastic job. Liu Kang. From a humble monk to a godly being that controls the entire universe, Liu Kang has been around since the very beginning, but there might be a few facts that you didn't know about him. In the first Mortal Kombat game, Liu Kang was the only character to not have a real fatality, only giving his opponent a big uppercut and then bowing. The MK crew said, well, he's a Shaolin monk, why would he want to kill people? Now, Liu has always been the most vocal member of the roster. His grunts and yelps are called kiai. In Japanese martial arts, a kiai is a short shout uttered when throwing an attack. They are meant to startle the opponent, intimidate them, express confidence. And speaking of confidence, did you know that MK11's ending isn't the first time that Raiden has imbued Liu Kang with the power of a god? In Liu Kang's arcade ending of Mortal Kombat vs. DCU, Raiden imbues him with the power of himself as well as several other gods in order to make him an almighty protector. So that's right, where we are right now in the series is strongly based off of an arcade ending from MK vs. DCU. Let that sink in. Well, it appears I might have been wrong about Raiden in the MK1 trailer. I bet there's still a few facts you didn't know about Raiden. Early on in the first home ports of Mortal Kombat, for some reason Raiden's name was spelled with a Y instead of I. Well, this is no Mandela effect. This actually is an issue from Acclaim, the company that helped them publish the home ports of Mortal Kombat. They were afraid of a potential copyright issue from Tecmo regarding their arcade shooter, Raiden. And speaking of other games, surprisingly, Raiden has made quite a few guest appearances. In Unreal Tournament 2, NFL Blitz, NBA Jam Tournament Edition, a pinball machine called Bally's 1994 World Cup Championship, and WWE Immortals, where he is played by Xavier Woods. In talking about appearances, Raiden's iconic outfit, his plain white clothes and rice hat, was not originally intended to be the uniform of the gods that it turned into. It was supposed to be a disguise where he could blend into normal society and not be obviously the God of Thunder. In addition, his design was based off of Lightning from Big Trouble in Little China. Mr. Boone and Mr. Tobias always loved their martial arts movies. Get over here! Oh, little Chinese ninja warrior who isn't really a ninja. SubZero! And there might be a few things you might not know about him. Well, for starters, there are actually two SubZeros, Bi-Han and Kuai Liang. Bi is the older brother of Kuai and the original SubZero, who held the name in Mortal Kombat 1 as well as Mortal Kombat mythologies. Kuai Liang took over the role as of Mortal Kombat 2 after Bi-Han was killed. So as you can see, the artist known as SubZero has had many names, but did you know that almost was not his name at all? Originally, he was going to be named Tundra. And later on in the series, Tundra canonically became the original code name of Kuai Liang in the Lin Kuei before he became Sub-Zero in honor of his fallen brother. Now, while Liu Kang is the main character and Scorpion is the favorite of the MK crew, Sub-Zero is the only one that has appeared in every single mainline entry of the Mortal Kombat franchise. And he got his own spin-off, and he appeared as playable in Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, someone else's spin-off. The only game he did not appear in was Mortal Kombat Special Forces. So he got lucky.
Noob Saibot. Without a doubt, one of the most unique characters not just in Mortal Kombat, but in all of fighting games. And I bet there might be a few things that you didn't know about him. Now, Noob made his debut in Mortal Kombat 2 as a secret character. It was a solid black silhouette of the ninja sprite. But he would not receive his iconic clone moveset until Mortal Kombat 3. Instead, he had the Scorpion moveset, fatality and all. And just get out of the way, yes, Noob Saibot is Boon and Tobias backwards, the founders of Mortal Kombat. It is known and established that Noob Saibot used to be Bi-Han, the original Sub-Zero. But what is he now? Well, he's not a Revenant, and he's not a Spectre, he's actually a Wraith, who was revived and created by Quan Chi in the Netherrealm. Now, during the 3D era, kind of a dark time in Mortal Kombat history, Noob was reunited with one of his Lin Kuei brethren, Smoke. In MK Deception, the gaseous ninja joined Noob Saibot as a replacement for Noob's clone. Additionally, in Mortal Kombat 9, if you put on Noob Saibot's alternate costume, his clone will be replaced by the classic ninja version of Smoke, reuniting the Lin Kuei brethren. Reptile. The original Lizard Man is a cult favorite, but there might be a few things you didn't know about him. Syzoth, better known as Reptile, is a Saurian from Zatara and is the last of his species. His species was wiped out after losing 10 consecutive tournaments to Outworld, but Reptile was kept alive to serve Shao Kahn. Despite that, there are still other Zatarans. He's just the last Saurian. And speaking of being last, did you know that Reptile was originally not going to be in the 1995 movie? After initial filming had wrapped, they realized the runtime was a little short and they wanted one more action scene. So they came up with the Reptile fight. Thank goodness they did, because that fight and that song both slap. Now, Mortal Kombat is famous for its secrets, and Reptile was the very first one. And a well-guarded secret at that, as in the game, you had to be fighting in the pit, there had to be silhouettes passing by the moon, you had to get a double flawless victory, ending with a fatality, and having not blocked the entire match. Only then could you face Reptile. And then he was still just a green version of Scorpion, but at the time, it was mind-blowing. And it started a fantastic lineage of secrets that still continues to this day.
Sonya Blade, Mortal Kombat's resident hard-ass and a lot of boys' first virtual crush, but I bet there's a few things you didn't know about it. Well, for starters, Sonya Blade was not even intended to be in the original game. But when they saw how popular Chun-Li was, in addition to wanting a little bit more variety in the roster, they decided to add her in over another character they'd been considering, an African-American cop by the name of Stryker. Now, Sonya Blade has had some of the most recognizable representation in all of Mortal Kombat, from Ronda Rousey to Jerry Ryan to, of course, Bridget Wilson in the 1995 classic. But did you know that it almost wasn't Bridget? As the actress who was originally hooked to play the role had broken her wrist prior to filming, and that actress being Cameron Diaz. As Sonya made her debut in the arcade era, and Mortal Kombat especially was known for its secrets, a lot of rumors were going around lunchroom tables all over America. The most famous one being that Sonya had a nudality, where if you put in the code, she would take off her clothes. Now, a lot of kids got called liars, but did you know that yes, it was complete fabrication? Not true at all. So sorry guys, if you want to see Sonya naked, you're gonna have to sign up for her OnlyFans. Tremor! The most underrated and underplayed ninja in all of Mortal Kombat, and I'm sure there's a few things you didn't know about. Well, for starters, everyone knows that Tremor is the Earth Ninja, and his ability is called Geokinesis. But he can do more than just toss around rocks. He can also control lava, gold, all sorts of metal, and even crystal. Eat your heart out, tough. Now, Tremor was actually originally intended to be playable in Mortal Kombat Trilogy, but for undetermined reasons, he ended up getting beaten out and replaced with Rain. The Water Ninja beat the Rock Ninja. What is this, Pokemon? Now, Tremor did eventually make his debut in Mortal Kombat Special Forces, which, while being a terrible game, he was an awesome concept, which led to him being the only character that debuted in that game to appear in another game. He would make his playable debut in Mortal Kombat X, and also made a special guest appearance in the Challenge Tower of the PlayStation Vita, specifically port of Mortal Kombat 9. Now, I implore you, NetherRealm, you did this with Scarlet. You made her DLC character in 9 and then made her real in 11. Do the same thing with Tremor in 1, please.